So if you uh, would like to activate your birth flame, or if you were just here for a hug, but if you'd like to activate your birth flame, all we need is your month and the day. And for the next hug, let's find out what colors we're going to be going to. And every color holds a frequency and vibration. And within the forgiveness frequency is a high vibrational multi-dimensional frequency that is encoded within in each and every one of us, waiting for it to be activated. And the forgiveness frequency uses the frequency weaved of self-love, self-forgiveness, and gratitude. And we weave those with color. And the more we add frequencies like joy, the longer we can stay in our center of joy. Authenticity has one of the highest vibrational and frequency hertz to it. So as the more that we can tap into the center of the forgiveness frequency and activate it and use color and bring color in, this is the new earth frequency, healing frequency it's a frequency match for this time. And that's why it's really been brought forward for us to share. And if you are a healer who would like to give a hug and be a part of it, if you are receiving a hug, let me know. If you are here to receive, if you want to give, please share this with someone who might need a hug. This is our first live hug. So we've done the crown chakra and the soul star chakra. So let's see what we are asking for out of these ones. Perfect. We keep getting two, so that's interesting that they are so connected, and this deck is used every day. Okay, so we are going to be going to the solar plex chakra, and we are going to be going into our personal power, which is 9-3, and decisions, which is 10-3. So we are going to be kind of dropping down and bridging from the crown chakra where we just were, and we will be dropping down into the solar plex and bringing the Akashic Reiki and quantum light language to our solar plex. If you would like to receive, please give your universal acceptance to the Divine Father, Mother, God, Source Energy. Take a few deep breaths in to really ground yourself into the energy. If you're just joining us, just center yourself in the middle of your forgiveness frequency and imagine yourself in an infinity loop, and you are holding that center and you are allowing the energy just to flow through in full trust and surrender, allowing the colors of the yellow. This brings forth the colors of June, of the aspen gold. We're bringing in the sunshine, the warmth, the element of fire, but there's also this air and breeze, the wind. As we tap into the solar plex and the colors, we're taking in this like elevator of evolution. And as we step within the energy of the solar plex, then you're elevated and you're just like pushed. This elevator is taking us directly into the sun. And there's a celebration of the unity that your light is weaving and anchoring in to this now moment. It's also a bridge. This elevator of evolution is taking us through to the sun of the new earth frequencies and energies. And that your anchor, your light node that you have anchoring in your lighthouse, it's really bringing us beautiful. So it's taken us like we went into the solar plex and went straight up in this elevator of evolution to the light of the lighthouse and this beacon of energy that you have such beautiful power within. And it's bringing forward the keys, the colors, and codes through this ancient wisdom of the aspen gold of the month of June. And you're showing the illumination of your light, of how far it goes. And you are that guide for all those who are kind of lost at sea or who are awakening and just are kind of looking around like, where am I? What am I doing here? And then they see this light and they just keep going towards it. And that's you. You are a magnifier, magnetized. You are a magnet for them. This isn't to pour into them. That is to stand in your spiritual leadership, to lead and guide them and show them through your daily best practices for your journey. And this is you may have to go back to share your story and to give them kind of the stepping stones off of the rock that they may be stuck on, or the waves that maybe they may be just hitting against. You help them turn their sails towards the light. As you take a deep breath in, you flow that energy down the spinal cord channel. It's bringing you back down into the solar plex. And so within the solar plex, there's like this Iron Man light that sits at the bottom chambers of the heart, the higher chambers of the solar plex. And within it's this lime green color of color and vibrance and frequency and vibration. But within that, imagine like the Iron Man. It's this light. And this is where your birth flame color is ignited, but there's also that trifold flame. It has the divine Father, Mother, God. It has your higher self. And so all of these different colors are igniting within this. And it's really bringing you, like you brought from the light that you illuminate from above where we just were in the center of the sun, you've brought that down now into the solar plex, and it's just pulsating out. And it's the solar plex has a lot of different bridges. We were just in the crown chakra, so it has a bridge there, it has a bridge to the throat. But this flame that's within it is just bringing me back to that Iron Man flame. And it's whether you're tapping on your chest, kind of in that spot, that CPR spot. I can't think of the name or the word of it. That's where that this energy is really illuminating its light and evolve. Like the light is just like beaming itself out. And you're being told there are times you need to allow that light to beam within. So turn it within for you to be your own guiding light, because you have everything you need within you. And it's your best practices that I see. It's those daily things that you do that keep you in alignment, that keep you allowing in trust and surrender that keep you following your intuition, but also standing in your power and your confidence. And you have decisions that need to be made. That's the color that's coming through, is the decisions that need to be made. What decisions do we need to be made? Embracing your sacred leadership, taking your seat at the table and embracing your crown. And there's also maybe decisions of there, I feel some are moving locations, like their energy's hopping. There may be moves in your future. This is also bigger decisions for some in the collective that are trying to align and follow their guidance and their trust. This is where like your gut instinct is. When you have ignited your flame and you're following that, this is where it's bigger decisions, whether you are making a career change, or I see cords being cut. Yes. This is releasing the attachments and making that decision. Are you ready to step in? Are you ready to step forward? Are you ready to embrace and full surrender and trust? If this was your highest timeline and you're waiting in the waiting room to take your elevator of evolution all the way to the top, like the highest frequency within, the highest vibration within, are you ready to let it all go? Can you leave everything that no longer serves your highest good? Have you cut all earthly attachments? Do you feel like you've been able to make enough space for when you get to the top? This is like decisions of breaking the glass ceiling, going even higher, going even further. Wow, this is a lot of information coming through. And take what resonates and flow through the rest. Is there any additional information that our healers need for this hug? Your beacon beckons you. You are being beckoned higher. You were given a glimpse of your evolution when you were at the top of within the sun, when you were in the top of that lighthouse, and they're asking you just to sit within that information that came through for you, whatever that was. And you can either drop it in the comments and let us know, like, what information, what colors, what keys or codes are coming through for you within the solar plex and that activation, that hug. And hugs are healing that's universally guided. So you will receive exactly what you were meant to receive. And we are sending out waves of love and ripples of gratitude to all of the healers that are joining us today to give and receive. And whatever this video finds you, please embrace the codes, keys, and colors from within. And whether you receive them in full remembrance now, they are within your quantum field and your celestial fields to receive when all in due timing and divine timing. Beautiful. As we kind of take a moment to integrate for the solar plex, we've gone through the crown chakra, we've expanded through the heart. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for this healer's healing healers. This is a hug that is being sent across the world for all of those who were not only giving it to Gaia and sending it to Gaia and the collective, and we've wrapped Gaia in a hug. We are also really helping to fill back up the cup of all of the healers that have been called into service to support the earth and to support Gaia and the full collective. And it's the energy, whether that was it's from the corona hole and the geomagnetic storms that are coming through and all the energy coming from the sun. It's also the Schumann resonance. We have a lot of release energy that's been coming through the last couple of days, and we had this big, huge spike of new energy that came through. So as we are integrating, this is just flowing love and unity and oneness in a hug, a color hug. And this is the rainbow rise up. So our rise up is restoring intrinsic source energy into the universal playground. And it's all using color. And why am I propped up on a pillow? 13 years ago, a box fell in my head and crushed my cervical spine. And I have lived horizontally ever since. And the first 8 years were really super dark. And it wasn't until I was on palliative care and the doctors were preparing us for the worst. They told us, our family, that this was the decline in my health would continue. There was no stopping it. It was just a matter of when. And I started to save pain for my family and write my eulogy. And in my eulogy, I received this bright blue pop of color, like completely filled my vision. And it told me to tell them now and not wait. And as I looked down at this eulogy, it was all gratitude. It was filled with gratitude. And I was given gratitude elevates truth. I had never met my spirit guides. I never knew my inner child. At this point, I was just felt like I was receiving these messages because I was already on the other side of the veil. I had one foot in each world, and my time would soon be up. Um, and this pop of color showed me how to get grateful, and it was GET, gratitude elevates truth. And I did. I took that eulogy and I turned it into just a thank you note for all of my friends and family who had helped us through the 8 years up until that point of this journey. And then once I did that, I started to receive another pop of color and another pop of color. And one led me to my inner child. And my inner child showed me that we had this trash can of traumas and insecurities that we had been filling up our entire life. And my inner child showed me that it was everything that we didn't know how to heal. It was everything that it's ever happened to us. And she showed me that it was time. Like, we had made a pact when I was 17 that I would come back to this, that I would come back and heal when I was ready, when I was strong enough to heal. And within it was everything that has ever happened to me from like first memory on. And there were very dark moments in there for my inner child. And I can see why we sealed it off and we just tucked it away. But it was through those pops of color that showed me that within that trash can of all the traumas and insecurities, it was the shame and blame. It was the shame that I held for the things that happened to me that weren't my fault. But it was also the blame for the time that I held on to them. And when these pops of color came through and forgiveness came through, I was losing my ability to chew and swallow. I was already knocking on death's door. Then I was told I needed a feeding tube because I wasn't getting enough nutrients in, that I was already drinking in all my meals, and I still drink in 80% of my meals come through a straw. But it was such a fear. The first, it was the fear of dying, which we had gotten over that through this pop of color. But then it was the fear of losing my voice, of having this tube shoved down my throat for the rest of my living life. And there was no cessation plan off of palliative care. It was a do or die trying. And I decided to do or die trying. And I wasn't supported by my family. I wasn't supported by the doctors, but I wanted to be off of opiates because I wanted to know what clarity felt like. I was getting these pops of color, like the in the most painful moments of the in between the opiates, or the in between the morphine, or the in between having to have a drink for travel, or the drinks. We used alcohol for pain at the time as well. I wanted clarity. I wanted the clutter to go away, and I didn't know how to do that without doing this cold turkey. And it was right as the world was shutting down. It was March of 2020 when the forgiveness frequency truly was birthed, when I had to face my fear of losing my voice and having a feeding tube. And like, I was even over the death part of it. That could come. I was not even worried about it. I was just worried about living with anything more and facing my fears. And so forgiveness kept telling me, like, this time will be different. This time will be different. Just do it. Show up. And every day I would show up and I would just drink in the rainbow. I would fill all my sips with watermelon, and I started blending up everything because I needed the pulp. I couldn't juice. It needed to be the full pulp so I could get all of uh, the density from it. And then these pops of color just kept showing me more ways to heal and more recipes to try, and how to get 30 vegetables in one drink just by blending up all of these green vegetables. And then it showed me how to take that same concept for root vegetables. And I don't know about you, in a day, I couldn't eat carrots anymore, right? Because they were too hard. It was too hard to swallow. Salads were out. So these pops of color just kept giving me guidance, and it was fully my intuition. It was my higher self. And it was before I had healed my relationship with God, and source energy. I just kept like, okay, I thought I was going crazy. I still thought I was close to that side of the veil, but I just kept showing up every day, and then putting my rainbow on repeat. And every rhythm is a repeat. And if you put your rainbow on repeat, it's that memory. Remember, like a song that you heard and you sung when you were little, but the minute you hear it again, you know every word. That is what the same thing occurred with when you put your rainbow on repeat. And that's what this journey has. Every color had a frequency and vibration to it, and that went into the infinity loop of forgiveness. Every fear we upcycled, every trash can truth our inner child brought forth that we upcycled, we journaled it out, we changed the narrative, we changed the color, we found the truth within, and then we upcycled it using meditation, mirror work, music, muscle movement. It's a jamming session. We would do breath work, journaling, affirmations, music, muscle movement, meditation, mindfulness. The M&Ms kind of go on forever. Mantras, magic. We also had our inner child, nature, grounding, gratitude. So we would just use all these little tools to help us. And then we would get on our pillow and we would have a pillow party. And I have this big neck brace that I usually am wearing, but it's a little too late to wear it. And after I got out of the shower and was told I was doing a hug, I prop myself up on the pillow so I get a little bit more uptime. With every up, there's a down. And living in chronic pain by coloring it, it took about a year, and we were fully off of all of our opiates, and we had fully detoxed within about 6 months. And then we were able to get sober. Our sips went sober. So within the first 2 years, we were able to be completely free of all drugs and alcohol. And we no longer had to use cannabis for pain, to eat. we just found a way to color pain every single day. And I still pass out from pain multiple times a day. Every up has a down. I used to only get 3 or 4 hours up a day, and now I'm getting about 6. And that's pretty like freaking miracles. And I'm still here. And that's a miracle in itself as well. I just want to thank all of those who have joined this live today and this live healing hugs, where healers need healers too. We need to wrap each other in a hug, and the hugs are healing that's universally guided. And we just need to be here for each other and really allow ourselves to receive a hug, because we spend so much time giving and healing and hugging and offering our assistance to the collective that sometimes you just need your own hug. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you would like to learn more about the forgiveness frequency, there is a ton of videos on our YouTube channel that will have walk you through. There's also a Pop of Color podcast that I share our pillow talks and stories. There's a new course that just launched last week of the Forgiveness Frequency, the Journey to Healing in Color. It's on the Brave Healers Transformation School, and that's available. And that takes you through about 80 minutes of the forgiveness frequency, and it leads you in and out of the frequency, since it's so high vibrational, and it activates your frequency using your birth flame and all of the colors, and it has these massive activations within it and a lot of extra bonus material too. We're going to